everyone, and welcome. I'm your host, Shibani Joshi. Today, we're talking about technology and ways to use it to help propel businesses forward. Before we get started, I want to remind you that this is an interactive session, and we do have a chat function that allows you to ask questions, and we're going to get to as many of them as we can. We also have a poll, so please weigh in on that. We're going to share the results shortly. Now, time for me to welcome our guests. Jenna Kurath is Comcast NBCU VP of Startup Partnerships and Head of SportsTech. Hi there, Jenna.
Hello, Shibani. Great to be with you.
Great to be with you as well. And we also have Marybeth Pearce, Comcast Business Executive Director of Enterprise Solutions. Welcome to you, Marybeth.
Hi, Shibani. Good to be here.
I'm looking forward to this conversation because this is a hot topic right now, and the startup and the business space is obviously the intersection of technology and technology investing. Marybeth, I want to start with you. What are you seeing in terms of the main needs of businesses from a technology point of view, and where do you see the shortcomings?
Yeah, so I think a lot of businesses are looking at technology. How can technology either improve productivity, enhance product offerings, or ultimately, grow the bottom line? And so we're seeing a lot of businesses really focus in on investing in technology that delivers high-speed, reliable network connectivity to the actual physical location, investing in solutions that secure that network connectivity and secure the network foundation, and then really looking at technology that is scalable, that can continue to support the future applications or future technology that may be coming down the road that will help small businesses, large businesses serve their customers and meet customers where they want to be met. I think when we reflect on where I see shortcomings in that space is it's so hard to select the right technology and the right partner. And so often what we find is businesses that have multiple, if not dozens of point solutions, each that solve an individual singular business problem. And at the end of the day, that creates incredible complexity and risk for the business because they have multiple endpoints to manage.
Yeah, there's a lot of complexity. There are a lot of options as well, Jenna. I'm sitting in the heart of Silicon Valley and I've got my finger on the pulse of what's happening with small businesses and the VC and startup sector. And outlooks and valuations seem pretty depressed right now. What are you hearing in terms of how businesses are looking at technology investments, and what areas of technology do you find these businesses excel at?
Well, to give a little bit of context, at Comcast, we work with startups in a number of ways. So if you look at Comcast Ventures, it's really about investing in companies in growth areas that are adjacent to the business. So it's things like digital health. It's things like future of work, which is very immersive and really transcends so many different markets and segments. I happen to sit within our startup engagement team. I have the privilege of leading our Comcast NBCU SportsTech program. So where Marybeth talked about selecting the right solutions, we're selecting startups, 10 per year that we're investing in. They have an opportunity to work with decision leaders across our organization. And if you look at our sports portfolio, whether that's NBC Sports or Sky Sports, Spectacor, we own the Flyers, Wells Fargo Center. We also brought in external sports partners as well, PGA Tour, WWE, and NASCAR, along with 3 Olympic teams. And all of that is really to build off of our media rights and our sponsorship investments. Mm-hmm. So when we are selecting these companies, we are looking for technologies that are solving a problem that is really needed within the marketplace. And so when we coach and give guidance and advice to our portfolio companies, when it comes to fundraising and what that investment picture looks like, it's really about 2 things. It's about exploring all avenues of product-led growth. And what I mean by that is really a growth strategy that counts on your product, its performance, its features, its viability, that being the selling point of it. Now, if you do need to go on and raise funds, where you need to be really clear in any of that equation, whether that's a small business loan or VC-backed funding from somebody like a Comcast Ventures, it's having just 100% clarity on what you're using those funds for. And I think that's the point that Marybeth is talking about, that is this going towards, efficiency within your business, opening up new go-to-market strategies, freeing up your talent to really go about new growth opportunities.
Yeah, this is great advice. That clarity and identifying how you can differentiate on a pain point is certainly a huge theme and important to identify in today's challenging environment. And I would remind everyone this is an interactive session, so throw your questions for both Marybeth and Jenna in the chat, and we'll get to as many as we can. We also have a poll there, and we'll bring you the results shortly. Marybeth, I want to transition now. How are you interfacing with businesses day to day? There's a lot of headwinds in the environment and the economy in certain sectors. How are you helping them to face these challenges?
Yeah, it's I think to Jenna's point, obviously the budget to invest in technology is the budgets are tight across industries, and so we partner closely with businesses to really understand what are the business challenges, what are the obstacles you're looking to overcome over the next 1 to 3 years, and how do we focus on that and build technology solutions around those obstacles that we can help address them and propel the business forward. And so it's kind of like we put all the ideas up on the board and decide, okay, what's going to drive the biggest results for that business. Some businesses are on a journey to enhance their digital engagements and move beyond the traditional four walls of a restaurant or a retail shop and engage their existing customer base and new customers via digital engagements. The technology needs for that customer look very different than a business that we're talking to that is just struggling with labor challenges and needs to figure out how to do more with the existing workforce that they have and leverage technologies to optimize efficiencies and allow their existing workforce to face their consumers. So it's really about a consultation and a partnership and understanding those business challenges so that we can then come back to the table with technology recommendations that will help them clear those hurdles.
Jenna, I love what she said here. Do you have any specific examples with some of the portfolio companies to bring this to life?
I think one of the best examples is Let's Chat. So they were in our last cohort, and the Comcast business team has really embraced that technology. And again, it goes back to what Marybeth was saying, that entrepreneurs who actively listen to understand their customers, those are the ones that are resilient. The interesting thing about Let's Chat, they provide live language translation. That could be in videos or a one-to-many conversation. When we learned that they were working with Bojangles on allowing you to be able in the drive-thru to order in Spanish, yet the person taking the order get that in English, that was just an eye-opening moment for Marybeth and her team. They are leaders within the quick serve restaurant space, and being able to come to other clients or prospects in that business and say, we're bringing you a piece of technology that makes it so much more accessible to reach your customers and serve them in the way they want to be served. And so it's just one of the examples where when we are choosing and selecting those companies, it's to always have a tie back to what's going to drive the business forward, whether that's Comcast business or NBCU.
I love that example, and it makes every business a global customer service agent there as well. We've got the poll results in, and I just want to bring this to both of you and share this with our audience. Our question was, what area of business is driven most by technology? 41% said customer experience and digital touchpoints. 35% said e-commerce and sales. 11% said supplier and vendor management, with just under 6% saying workforce management and employee productivity. Marybeth, do you want to respond first?
Sure. I think those results are really interesting. I completely am aligned in the conversations that I have with some of the larger enterprise businesses, large restaurant chains that Jenna mentioned, and hotel chains. I would say this is the same conversation we're having around how can technology drive an improved and enhanced customer experience that ultimately is going to drive loyalty and return buyers. It's kind of a natural transition then to go to e-commerce and sales. So taking that technology and bringing it outside of the traditional four walls of a retail engagement and meeting your consumer where they want to be met and delivering your solutions, your products where they want to be met. Just expanding your footprint nationwide or globally in partnership with companies like Let's Chat. I'm aligned with that. I'm a little surprised, honestly, Shibani, around the workforce management and employee productivity.
Why so? Yeah.
We've I've been in a lot of conversations with some large restaurant chains about the impact it had on their business to reopen their dining rooms. Obviously in the pandemic, everybody shut their dining rooms down, and drive-through or curbside pickup became the only way to interact with your favorite local or national restaurant chain. And these chains are struggling with reopening the dining rooms because they've become so efficient in serving through the drive-through and at the curb. And so they're looking at technologies to say, what do we automate inside that dining room, inside the bathroom? How do I save my employees time from checking to see if something as simple as the toilet paper is empty by leveraging technology to automate an alert that it's empty and then sending an employee in there? Or automating temperature checks. Don't have an employee check and log temperature on food every 90 minutes, every 60 minutes. Let the tech do that. And that's where I think there's an opportunity to really look at your employee productivity and how technology can help that.
Yeah, and with shrinking labor force, that's increasingly important. Jenna, very quickly, do you have any response here?
Yeah, it's interesting on the consumer experience and digital platforms. Yes, the pandemic handed us a shift in the world tilting left, and we all unanimously had to find ways to work and thrive and survive through that. And now that we're starting to see fans come back into venues, it has made such a imprint on our selection of our current cohort. 90% of them have technology that can innovate within the living room, equally so within the venue. Book Seats, which is also in our last cohort, was a really interesting one in that they provide personalized travel packages around ticketed and experiential events. And for them, it was an opportunity to pilot that with our Golf Now team. So if you're not familiar, largest tee time booking system out there. They had not been able to previously really allow somebody who wants to set up a tee time to easily book their hotel, their airfare accommodations. And it goes back to what you were talking about, Marybeth, of hospitality. Now that people are coming back together, standards are different, standards are higher. And it is very much about investing in the technology that can free up your workforce to make sure that that's a delightful experience.
We have some audience questions trickling in here, and this is somewhat related to what we're talking about. What predictions do you have about how AI will impact small businesses? Because a lot of these automated functions, Marybeth, could be done by AI.
It's a great point. And Jen, I definitely want you to answer this one also, because I think some of your cohorts are playing in the AI space. I think that, first of all, we see AI, it's a feature of a technology you invest in from an investment perspective. I would look at AI as a feature of a broader technology that you're implementing. But I absolutely think that it can be leveraged to offset some of the labor challenges. We're talking about it for drive-through or voice ordering. And I'm going to let Jenna answer here also, because I know she's working with some AI companies that probably could.
Great. Yeah, Jenna.
Absolutely. So in all three of our cohorts, so we've now invested in 30 companies. In each of our cohorts, we have had companies that are really leaning into AI and computer vision. One in particular, Eon Media, they're able to, in a live broadcast setting, recognize every time that a logo is present and for what duration. That really puts some hard numbers, more of what you would get in a social media campaign for what is happening in a live broadcast to bring a Comcast business or an Xfinity brand to life in that setting. So all, again, is driven off of AI in that context. We have another company, Recut, in our current cohort. They are all about using artificial intelligence to take one video, 15 minutes of content of somebody of talent, and being able to personalize that so that it can go directly to, hi, Shibani, thank you for being a Flyers fan. We'd love to share more about our new club level, call to action of how to set up an appointment. So it's just different ways of using that content that can scale in a more meaningful way. But I don't think it's to replace in any manner, shape, or form the human element behind it.
Right. It's additive is what we're hearing more and more often as these technologies evolve. Marybeth, I want to ask you, what happens when small businesses don't focus on finding technology solutions? What opportunities are they missing? And I kind of want to fold in what we have from Michael Pitts here. He is a new small business and is asking for recommendations on how to partner with local IT businesses as I start out. So how do you start out? And then what happens if you are if you're lagging, or if you don't make these investments early on?
Great questions. I think from starting out, so I would encourage you to certainly talk to your peers in the small business space to see who they may have partnered with that worked well or didn't work well. When selecting a IT partner, kind of as I mentioned at the start of this session, it's really important to select that partner that can deliver multiple solutions and address multiple business challenges, because there is so much tech out there and there's so many different use cases that finding a single partner, or at least a small handful, is key to simplify, not only simplify the actual physical network in your small business or in your environment, but also simplify your engagements with your partners, your suppliers. I'd also say look at the IT partners that are specifically investing in small businesses. Comcast has a Comcast Rise program where we are focused on investing in small minority-owned businesses, and we have a public commitment to do that, to continue to elevate the small business owner space. And so I would encourage you to look for partners that are publicly committed to supporting small business, not only building solutions, but providing that coaching and that business guidance that Jenna talks about in her programs. And then what happens if you don't, right? And so this is where we see this with large businesses also. If you delay your technology decisions, or you make the wrong ones, you become a laggard and you miss out on customer engagement opportunities and product development growth. And so I would encourage you, as you're picking your IT partner, to pick one that you trust and that can help understand and align to your business goals. And then lastly, make sure that the technology you choose is secure. You don't want to run the risk of exposing your brand, your business name, or your customers' data. And so selecting a partner that can provide the security wrapper around so much of this technology is key.
Jenna, what's the impact on the bottom line? Because we also know there is a profit impact as well.
Yeah, I really just want to underscore your second point, Mary, about that. Just staying at the forefront of technology, it is absolutely vital. You want to remain as a business leader in that pole position. So if you're not doing that, you're not having ownership in shaping your business, remaining nimble, being able to be responsive to the market changes and dynamics out there. I think it's a big reason as to why we as an organization have leaned so much into working alongside startups. You look at our company, we were founded 60 years ago by Ralph Roberts, and we want to keep his same entrepreneurial spirit alive. But when you get to a company of our size and scale, it's not easy to remain nimble. So, having the thoughtfulness of Comcast Business, wanting to understand your business, us wanting to work side by side with startups that challenge us to push our products beyond the status quo and really get our hands on the latest technologies and see what the impact can be to the bottom line. I think if you fear that, you will be in that, you will lose that pole position. So it's really about choosing partners that can help you in every aspect of your business. It's always about, the build, buy, partner evaluations that go into building a sustainable business, and finding a partner that you trust, that has technology that is future-proofed, so that you're making the investment today that's still going to pay out 3 years down the line. And that you, to your point on the security element, your brand is everything. And recovering from something like that is devastating to the business. Is probably one of the highest risk points if it's not solved for properly.
Yeah, and sometimes you can't even recover from that. We have a couple of questions on how to get in touch with Comcast. How do small businesses apply for funding with Comcast Investments? And then there is a startup investor who would like to know how they can connect within the sports industry on sports partnerships. Do each of you want to weigh in?
Yeah, I can jump in quickly on our sports tech program. Our applications are open for our 2024 class. So as I mentioned, we've already invested in 30 companies. We're well into cohort 3 at the moment. And that's at ComcastSportsTech.com. Go ahead and apply. We're very clear on what those investment focus areas are, everything from media and entertainment, things that can help us personalize content, remote production, workflow efficiencies, to venue and event innovation, and athlete and player performance. So it's really clear where you can see, would I have a role? Would my technology play a role? And what are the partners within our consortium really looking for? What are the problems they're looking to solve? So encourage anybody in the sports realm to please apply there. But we also find quite often, like Lex Chat, that is not a sports specific technology or solution. That is something that adds value everywhere. It's just that on the grand stage of sports, it's in a very powerful market to gain dominance in and then expand from there. And then Comcast Rise is also up on our website as well. And we do encourage minority and undersupported founders and small business owners to apply there as well. And that gets you access to marketing resources and hard, computer and network facilities that can help embrace your business and help you move forward.
And then if I could add one more to that, Jenna, Comcast Lift Labs.
Yes, absolutely. So Lift Labs, thank you very much. The sister program within our startup engagement. And they are looking very closely at very focused thematic opportunities as well. And AI, to your point earlier, Shibani, is the area that they're looking at. And it's a very focused program to work with different decision makers across our organization.
Terrific. And we've got about 3 minutes left. And we keep getting audience questions. So I want to fold in as many as we can. We have a question from Matthew. We know that the dynamics of 2023 are highly different than 2019, 2021. But what's one bit of advice that you'd give to entrepreneurs in, say, 2025, looking into the next 2 to 5 years to be mindful of? I love that question.
I love that too. I would say, look, we say this all the time to our founders. It's really about challenging your beliefs. One misstep in terms of an assumption could derail the success of your business. So it's actively listening to what your customers are looking for. If you're in a B2B space, it's very much about staying attuned to behavioral, observational aspects of your product. What are the features they're really engaging in? How do you simplify it and make it friction-free? That is the stickiness that gets you going. But then likewise, on the B2B side, it's deeply understanding who are all of the decision makers within the buying equation, who's got the budget, who's got the authority, who's going to influence that decision, and why is it so critical to the business? And I think those are all the elements that you find within Comcast Business as a partner to understand what matters to your business.
Terrific. Marybeth, anything to add?
Jen is the expert in that space, so I'm going to leave that one to her, Shibani.
Great, I love it. As you know, every small business is unique, and they are starting out at different points and points in time and on different journeys, right? What advice do you have in the last 2 minutes that we have together on advice to consider in digital evolution? And what are some steps that businesses could take today on where to begin? Because there are unlimited choices, as we talked about at the start of our conversation, many providers. So how do you know, and where's a good place to start? And what is sort of the philosophy that you're promoting in evolving?
Yeah, so I think from my perspective, first really defining and being certain about what your business goals are. What is it that you're looking to achieve in the implementation of technology? And so then once you've defined that and you can clearly articulate that and share that kind of vision, you can find partners to work backwards from there. So I would say that's the first step. The next step is finding the right partner. And I will say, I have an opportunity to work with a lot of restaurants and hotels across the United States, and they're facing similar challenges. They all look to approach it slightly differently, but despite being, in direct competition, they also mind share. And so find your peers in the small business space, in the entrepreneurial space, and share best practices and challenges and partnerships to really hone in on who is that technology provider or providers that you want to trust in your journey. And then work with them to define what that technology is that's going to help you take that next step in achieving those business outcomes that you defined up front.
Terrific. Jenna, a 10-second answer, anything you want to wrap with here?
I think it's great advice. Talk with your peers, surround yourself with advisors in different industries as well. You'd be surprised at the commonality of problems worth solving.
Absolutely. That is all the time we had. What a wonderful and lively discussion. Thank you, Jenna and Marybeth, for joining us, and to all the audience members for your terrific questions as well.